Hello, I wanted to share with you the kind of journey that I went on in creating the wellbeing cards that I sell as part of Wellbeing Adventurers. And so I thought I'd share with you my own kind of experiences and what led to me creating them to become the thing that you're able to access and buy as part of a training bundle. So when I first started teaching yoga, I actually spent a really long time planning. I used to plan my classes and I used to plan each one separately, week by week, and sometimes I'd completely lack inspiration, and sometimes I'd end up going into like the file sections of Facebook groups of either the kids yoga teachers, looking at the plans that other people had so kindly shared, and sometimes it would help and sometimes it wouldn't, and sometimes I had loads of inspiration and then other times I didn't and just felt completely at a loss. And then sometimes I'd just get lost in this kind of spiral of looking at other people's stuff and feeling overwhelmed actually with the whole planning process, and like I hadn't really got a kind of structure or a kind of style that was my own. And I had loads of resources, things like books and yoga cards, but none of them were enough to support all of my lessons. So I'd use some bits for something, some bits for something else. I'd try different games out from different books that I'd read. But my lessons just didn't feel cohesive, and I had a lesson structure which I'd created and was happy with, but nothing kind of bound it together to make it feel clear and progressive. So it was really frustrating. I kept like flicking back through my plans to see what have I taught before. And every time I came to plan a lesson, I'd have to look back to the plans for that particular class, like, oh, what do they already know? What do I need to do to help them move forward? And I felt like I was catching myself out all of the time with like yoga poses. And it was actually really confusing as well, because a lot of the cards that I used, I really enjoyed using yoga cards, but they all had different names for different poses, and some packs included some poses and not others, and some included both poses but had different names, and it just didn't really work. And the cards themselves, I like the idea of using them, but actually they were too small for the size of the room or for the group of children, and it just felt really overwhelming, and like I was spending all of my time planning, and it just didn't feel me. And so when I started teaching schools in curriculum time for lessons, within the school day, it hit me. I was like, what am I doing? I used to be a primary school teacher. Why am I not approaching this like I would any other lesson? And it sounds really obvious now. I mean, I had a lesson structure, which was my lesson plan, but I didn't approach it in the same way as I did when I was a teacher. And so I decided I needed a new approach, and I needed a clear route way of progression of skills. And so then I set to work with creating a kind of route way of skills that when I work with children that I would work through. And I created my own yoga cards, which I'm really proud of and I really love. And a very lovely illustrator, Sophie Ray, did the illustrations for me. And we worked together to discuss making them really representative of the types of children that I teach, which is a huge range of diversity within the schools that I work in the Midlands. The vast majority of my work is in the Midlands of the UK. And there's a huge diversity of skin colour, of body size, of ability, of body shape, hair colour, eye colour, glasses, no glasses. There's a huge range of children who I teach, and I didn't see them represented actually in the cards that I had, and I wanted to create something that I would be proud to use myself in my own classes. And so I created my own series of cards, which was like a progression throughout the key stages. and I used them in my own classes. I did lots of trials and trial and error in with real children in real schools, trying out poses that worked, poses that didn't, and I spent an awful lot of time researching the particular poses that I was using, what the benefits were for all of them, and also if there's any kind of contraindications to them, how to do them safely, what the age limits were. And so I really did dive deep into unpicking the poses that I was choosing, and so that I would have a really clear vision in my mind of why I was using each pose at each particular stage, and also which poses led on to others. And so I created my wellbeing cards, which used to have wellbeing, Julia Hankins Wellbeing on them as their logo. And I've since made the change to Wellbeing Adventurers to make it a bit more kind of inclusive, so that other people could use them and it wouldn't have my name on. And so I've been using these cards for years now, 3 years, and I actually truly believe that the cards are the real reason why schools want me to come back, because it's really clear, this route way is really clear. And so the cards are really vital for me to provide visual aids and support for the children who I work with. And the partner cards that I created are intended to support and extend children and allow them to be creative and imaginative and independent. And so I've been really enjoying using them in my own teaching, and I continue to do that. They continue to be my number one resource that I use every single week without fail. And actually, if I had nothing else, even if I didn't have maths, I still could confidently teach a kids yoga lesson. And so my planning now, it used to be really quite time consuming, but now it's really quite quick and simple. I do it termly, and so I plan a whole series of lessons, but I already have that basis because I already have the progression route of the poses that I'm using, and I already have this idea of the skills that I'm developing in each year group. And so I can just the structure's there, and I can just feel free to add in some props and a little bit of magic to make it to make my sessions more fun, and I can adapt them and make them themed if I want to, or make them specific to PE if I want to, but the bare bones, the structure is there. And so my planning doesn't take long anymore. I just have to do the kind of fun stuff, which makes it a hell of a lot easier. And so the children that I've been working with for the past 3 years have been building progressively on their skills and on their learning, and the cards support them to be able to talk about what they've been learning and why. They can name the benefits, they can name the poses, and they know what they're building on, and they also know that there's somewhere that they're going to go next, and they're really excited by that. And so I believe that that's what makes my school classes so good. The staff can see that there's clear learning happening because I'm relating back to the poses all the time, relating back to the benefits all the time. The staff know that there's a route way, that there's a progression, because I talk about that. I talk about the learning that the children are doing, what they already know and what they're going to do next. And the staff trusts that I know what I'm doing, because I do know what I'm doing, and I'm actually really proud of that. And so if you would like some certainty to know of what you're teaching when, then this training and the resource bundle is for you. So it will give you a foundation on which to build all of your lessons to ensure that they're high quality, that they're professional, and that you have the resources there to support you. And so if my story of how I created these cards resonates with you, if you feel any of the feelings that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, then check out the training, check out the resources, and if you've got any questions, get in touch. And do check out the videos where I share with you the resources and what they look like, and how I use them.